Hi, hello, and welcome back to Hey Mama, I Have Questions. I'm Hanna.
And I'm Megan. Every time,
still the same people. We're so glad that you're back.
Yeah, so glad to have you here.
That you're spending time with us.
Mm-hmm. Today we're going to go on a bit of a brain spiral on something that we have been continually coming back to and like talking about and having lots of feelings about over the past several weeks, really.
Yeah, we repeatedly find ourselves in this conversation.
Yeah. So we wanted to have it with and in front of you. Killing it. So we want to talk about how we as parents, in our process of deconstructing our socialization as people in a society, as we're deconstructing these socializations, we kind of figure out, oh, this is something that I don't want to incorporate into my life anymore, or this is something that I don't want my children to have to deconstruct when they're older, or this is something that's been really harmful in my life, and how do I'm going to use this word and then we're going to question it later, but how do I protect my children from that? So this has come up around body hair, around inclusivity, around, what were we just talking about? Around genitals, around, like
body image. Yeah, genitals. I think that's better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Body image too, though. Yeah, I was going to say
body image too. Yeah, absolutely. That's a huge part of it. And
sexuality.
There's
intimacy.
So many things. So
boundaries.
We're going to get into it.
So many things.
I think we initially got explicitly into this around talking about body hair and like how we interact with our body hair, specifically as women, feminine presenting people,
more specifically white women.
Yeah, white feminine presenting people, and the decisions that we have to make within a larger societal context around our body hair and how we deal with it. You know, we have to deal with it either through removing it or not removing it, and the different ways of removing it or not removing it, or dyeing it in some cases, or styling it, or, you know.
And the reactions to our choices.
Right. The other people's reactions to our choices and how those choices impact the people we're raising.
Mm-hmm. And
how our interactions with those choices, how we feel about those choices, impacts those people, those little humans. And just trying to find a balance between dealing with our own stuff, dealing with going through that process ourselves, what we want for our children, and then also what we're actually communicating to our children. Which so often in all the different facets of life can be very different things, depending on how much your words and your ideals match how you're living your life. Which there's always going to be movement there, I think.
Yeah.
As humans. So it's a big one, and we're not going to cover it all, and we're probably going to say some dumb stuff, but hopefully it'll be interesting, and we absolutely welcome your thoughts. We'll probably be asking questions that we can't answer, so let us know what you think about those.
Please also call us out on our dumb stuff.
Oh yeah, tell us the dumb stuff we say.
Yes. Not only in this one, by the way. Please always.
Yeah. You're never gonna. Well, anyway.
I was thinking about this yesterday, actually, that I am often so afraid to talk about things in this space because I'm afraid to say the wrong thing. Like, for example, inclusive language. Am I using the right words? Like, sometimes when I'm editing, I flinch. I notice that I said a word that is not inclusive and that I have been trying to get better at. And then I realize there are so many, probably so many things that I am not aware of yet that I'm doing them, and that
we don't even know that we don't know.
Yeah, that I would want to do differently because my ideals actually do not match with what I'm saying. And then I get anxious, and then I maybe shy away from talking about stuff. And then I thought, well, then I'm not going to grow, though. Like, if
that's how we perpetuate ignorance.
Yeah. If I stop talking about the things, that I'm not going to notice the mistakes I make, and therefore not notice the thought patterns that I have, because my words are just reflecting my thought patterns, right? So then I just continue my thought patterns, and that's not what I want. And I think my pepping myself up, I said to myself, if I, a year from now, and definitely in 10 years from now, look back on what I say today and don't cringe, that's a problem. I'd rather make the mistakes now than not have any growth, because to me that's the bigger mistake. Is that fair to say?
I think so. For sure.
Yeah. So I don't have any idea what I'm doing.
I think it's fair to say neither of us have any idea what we're doing, but we're trying our best. We're trying our best.
Welcome to the human experience. We have no idea what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to think of a time that this has come up recently.
Well, another time it came up, you already talked about the body hair situation. Then another time it came up was language. We were talking about inclusive language. Oh, we were contemplating about who we would want to have on the podcast and who not. Because, like, we would want to, for example, have people use inclusive language. We would prefer that. But then also we realized if we filter people out with specific criteria, then we're also at the risk of creating an echo chamber. Then we are at the risk of just talking to people that share our opinions. And again, with that, we don't grow. And with that, we actually then don't serve inclusivity. Then we're actually not inclusive. So we think we're doing the thing, and we end up actually doing the opposite in a way.
Yeah. And I think there's something to be said for not platforming, to the extent that we have a platform, not platforming people that perpetuate ideologies that we see as harmful, while at the same time recognizing that humans are complicated, and because someone holds one belief that we feel is harmful, it doesn't invalidate their entire experience as a human and the value that they have as a person. So, and this isn't a new quandary for people that interview people, like this is, we're very much having an experience that lots of people have had before us, and trying to grapple with our version of it, I think.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting. And I know that there's a lot of, I want to say, impatience. I don't know if that totally communicates what I want to say, but there's a lot of impatience with people that have what we would consider outdated or uninformed beliefs and opinions. And I get that. Like, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant people have been in charge for a long time, you know, like, and ignorant for a long time and harming people for a long time with either ignorance or malice or some combination of the two. So I get the impatience. But whenever I encounter one individual person, I feel more compassion on that front.
Yeah.
Than I do for all of us as a whole. I include myself in this, obviously. So I want to have conversations with people that I think are wrong.
Yeah.
But I want to do it in a way that doesn't validate that belief or support or perpetuate the belief that I don't agree with. I don't know. It's complicated and it's hard, and I'm not going to be able to articulate that perfectly. Mm-hmm. Which is part of what makes it hard as a parent to try to live your ideals in a way that includes educating your children on them, or giving your children opportunity to be educated around what a society is and does, and questioning norms and questioning accepted quote unquote truth. So maybe that's the key, making clear to your children that you are interrogating the things that have been instilled in you through culture and experience. Is that a cohesive thought?
I could follow it. That could be because I align with it very much. That's a lot of how I have been thinking about it. Because again, I will never have all the answers. So
yeah, I
think what I want to make sure that I teach, and in order to do that, I need to demonstrate, I need to live that myself, is to question, use your own mind and heart and intuition. And yeah, what you said, never, I don't want to say never, but don't just blankly accept a status quo, whatever it might be. Like don't blankly accept what I say. Question what I say to you, as much as anyone else. It's as much as your teacher, your mayor, your pastor, your
right.
It's okay.
Anyone
and it's
in authority
important.
Doesn't sorry, go for it. I apologize.
Yeah, anyone in authority, and also anyone not in authority, like anyone. And for me, in my thought process, it was a big step to say, to include myself in that. Like when I, in my mind, am envisioning myself with a child and like how would I want to, and I'm having this speech with my child, to include myself. And so something when I was a child that bugged me really, really, really hard was when my mother said, because I said so.
Oh, classic. That's a parent classic.
Which I get. I totally get it. I have so much empathy for that. Because here are these little tiny humans that you are already taking care of around the clock and have so many things on your list, and you're just scrambling. And now on the top of all of that, they are just asking questions all day. They do not stop. So I get it. And I hated it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And when I started thinking about this, I even noticed and remembered that on the one hand, my mother tried to instill this in me. She said, always ask questions, always think for yourself. And yet she was doing this other thing of not allowing me to question her, which is what you said in the beginning, right? To have all of that align is kind of the challenge, right?
Oh, it is the challenge, I think, when you're talking about behavior and parenting.
Yeah. And I feel like I never learned that very well. I feel like I'm not good at, or at least I would like to be better at questioning and critical thinking, which probably will make it harder for me to teach that, because if I don't know how to do it, how am I going to teach someone else how to do it, right?
Yeah, and probably slightly triggering if you do manage to teach your children how to do it.
Yeah.
Because it'll feel unsafe.
Yeah.
Because
and
it's
I also
unfamiliar.
Already get nervous of the thought of not using this because I said so, not using like cop-outs, not like, so measuring up to this goal that I set out for myself.
Yeah. God, welcome to parenting.
Such a noble goal, right? But then you're in this situation, you're like, I just...
Okay, Hanna, I have a magic bullet for you, which is not my magic bullet. I read it on our Instagram feed. Every other day they talk about it, which is repair. Which is saying, hey, in not so many words, I was dysregulated. I messed up. Will you accept my apology? Here's what I want to do in the future. Do you want to ask me those questions again?
Which is teaching a new thing in that. Yeah.
Exactly. And so I find a lot of consolation in the idea of repair. And obviously you'd rather do it in a way that aligns with your ideals, but also we're human. And this stuff is deep, deep, deep within us. And so picking it out in each situation and realigning ourselves on the go is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Yeah. Which is why also that it's so cool that you're doing all of this thinking ahead of time, because I think it will really, and I mean, I am kind of too, because we're not in the active conversation phase of our relationship, though we do, like, I have to set boundaries all the time now. And how I do that and how I react to his reaction to that is a constant, like, practice and learning process, and trying to be self-aware and trying to be in the moment, and you know, like, all of the things that you want to be as a respectful or responsive parent. But yeah, we're not gonna do it perfectly. The idea isn't to do it perfectly, it's to do it authentically and responsibly and mindfully.
Yeah. We've just come full circle. When you said the idea is not to do it perfectly, I feel like that's kind of where we started out with.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
but
where the
to
growth
do
happens.
it, to actively do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I have a tendency to go, well, it's not gonna be perfect, so I'm just gonna let the chips fall as they may, kind of. To sort of throw up my hands and be like, oh, I can't do it perfectly, so I'm not even gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm definitely fighting against that. So in addition to repair and trying to be mindful as you're going about your own life, recognizing that here we come. What I am trying to practice is doing these things out loud. Deconstructing my beliefs around myself and the world and society out loud, so that it's external, because so much of this happens in your brain, right? And especially as you're relearning how to think, it's an internal process, right? But this past week I saw a lot of Instagram posts about body image and communicating around body image, and standing in front of the mirror as a parent and saying, ugh, my pants don't fit anymore. And as it's coming out and your kid is there, you realize, oh no, this is what I'm communicating this to my children, that gaining weight is really upsetting and bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then there were, like, you know, those Instagram posts where they're like, here's an alternative. And it was like, my tummy's too awesome for these pants, or my legs are too powerful for these pants, you know, like,
yeah.
Or, oh, I guess I'm going to have to get new pants. We got to go buy pants, you know, like,
yeah.
Doing this out loud stuff. You're welcome for excellent eloquence over here. I got that one. But going through the process of deconstructing your negative or harmful socialization beliefs out loud, which is the same way that we do things that you more easily associate with gentle parenting and building self-confidence in children, right? Like, oh, your tower fell over. Guess we'll have to build it again. Let's build it again. Oh, that didn't work. Let's try it a different way. Like, that sort of stuff is, you know, more top of mind when you're thinking about children and proactive self-confidence building, or proactive frustration tolerance and that sort of thing, right? This societal education tolerance is, we don't think about it as much because it is just in the water, and you have to figure out that it's there before you can work against it. That's what I'm working on, trying to do stuff out loud. Maybe I'll talk about my beautiful hairy legs sometimes.
To him or in this podcast?
Oh, either one. I was talking about to him, but my legs are beautifully hairy sometimes. And sometimes they're beautifully not hairy. It's a really exciting crapshoot over here.
Yeah, I like that. Doing it out loud.
And I think if they see us learn and grow and progress, well, that's got to be powerful, right? Like, I know seeing my parents change and learn and grow has been really impactful in my life.
Yeah.
But it is scary to be, I think it's getting less so the more I engage with the respectful, gentle parenting space. It's less scary to not have answers. But it's scary to not have answers when you're a parent.
Mm-hmm.
To not know what the right thing is to do or say, and to have to make a decision anyway.
Yeah.
Even in little stuff like, don't touch that glass jar, right? Like, even in little stuff like that. But even more so when it comes to things that we are actively deconstructing in our own brains and bodies that have been thought patterns and practices and mindsets for so long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought about that while you were talking about the doing it out loud concept. I had exactly that thought when you just said that. That is probably a really powerful thing to model them too, because no matter how we do it, no matter what we do, no matter what a great job we do at our own deconstructing and modeling it, they're still gonna have stuff to deconstruct when they're adults, because things are always gonna change. It's gonna be a new generation. There are gonna be mistakes that we made as parents. So what a great thing to model for them and already teach them in that way. To do work on yourself, mess up and then correct, be mindful, be intentional, be kind with yourself about messing up, and that the process of growing that the process of growing and evolving is everlasting. So like when you said how wonderful it has been to watch your parents in that, that's what I was thinking about. That's, I think, is great to model. Yes, let's talk about the being gentle with oneself. Go ahead. Isn't that what you reacted to? And I was like, let's dive into that.
Being kind to yourself about it. I think it all just comes together into this huge tangled knot that we're trying to weave our way around. How was that for a metaphor?
Wonderful, beautiful, so great.
Because even if we do the rebuilding and correction, if our reaction to getting it wrong is self-loathing,
unkind to ourselves,
or unkind, or I can't believe I did that, or like I'm the worst, like the negative self-talk that comes along with making mistakes so often,
then that makes them afraid to mess up and models that it's
they
not,
may remember
not
more
okay.
That you were devastated that you messed up. And as I'm saying this, I'm like, well, maybe there's times when it's appropriate to be devastated that you messed up, and then process through forgiving yourself and coming to terms with it and growing out of it. And that's where I think doing it out loud comes in, because obviously it makes sense. If you do something harmful or wrong, it makes sense to be devastated by that. It makes sense to be really disappointed in yourself. and you don't have to stay there.
Yeah.
And so climbing out of that out loud shows a realistic way to be kind to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that you aren't sad that you made a mistake. It's not that you don't think you should have done better. It's that you understand that sometimes you're going to mess up. It's that you understand that there is a way forward from there. And that doesn't have to be where you live. You don't have to live in the shame of having done something that doesn't align with your ideals. You can feel that shame and then leave it behind. You don't have to take it with you. If you're taking steps toward repair and learning, and there's something after repair. I don't remember, but see, learning, here we are, continuing to. I have a feeling it's only going to get harder from here.
Yay!
But yeah. I'm really excited about it. I know that I'm not going to enjoy it in the moment, and I'm probably going to mess up a bunch. But is it a self-serving thing to say I'm excited about learning through parenting? I don't think so. I'm excited about learning.
Even if it is, that's still great.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm so glad we have this podcast to share all of our mistakes and growth and...
Yeah, can't wait to tell you all about it. I have to start keeping a journal or something.
Yeah. I look forward to looking back at this in 10 years and cringing. It's going to be so great.
Can't wait. Hashtag growth. All right. Well, I would love to hear other people's thoughts on this.
Yeah.
I hope you'll go over to our Instagram and share them with us. And we'll be right back at it next week. Have a lovely week. Bye.
Bye.